forget, it ain't the first 48 with 60 minutes on them.
Cover the king, best not miss. Even the score now, we need to score now. Back on that wall, when you hear that call, you know it's going down. We play from beginning to ending, you know how we finish. Turn to the bank, gotta handle our business. We need the ball, so it's time to go get it. Play with your heart when you hit, make it feel it. You know I'm with. You come to the bank and get out of line, be sending a blitz. Say who you with? You know I'm with. That purple and black, and when we attack, you know what it is.
You're now locked in Zone 32.
And boom goes the dynamite. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Zone 32 podcast, episode 175. We have a quartet in here tonight. My name is Jake. His name is Drew. His name is Will. His name is Trippy. All right, y'all, let's get into it. With a bit of devil magic disguised as holy water, the Ravens season ends in Pittsburgh. Steelers won the AFC North by beating the Ravens 26-24. Each side of the ball took turns contributing to losing, but with an opportunity to send the Ravens to the playoffs, Tyler Luke pulled a Scott Norwood and went wide right, missing his first field goal from less than 50 yards this season. His first. Following the loss 2 days into the offseason, it was announced the Ravens have fired John Harbaugh, ending an 18-year run as the head coach. So, Drew, I need your thoughts. Would it have been better to make the playoffs and keep him, or exactly what happened, which is miss the playoffs and he convinces Steve to fire him? Biscotti.
I don't know if that game had anything to do with firing John or not. We're finally fucking free. You know, I could do a free at last or whatever the fuck I could do, but you know, he's finally gone. John can't hurt us anymore. You know, elated that he's gone. I don't, you know, after what has it been, 48 hours since he's been fired?
Yes.
You know, reading a lot of stuff that's come out, I'm not sure that the outcome of that game is really why he got fired. You know, it just seems that there was a power struggle and Steve told him to get rid of Todd and he said no, and then he got fired. And I think that currently, if you read social media and, you know, any of the beat writers' columns and listen to podcasts, there's a whole lot of, I don't know what the right word, a whole lot of, you know, theorizing going on who had a problem with who, and did Lamar hate Todd? Did Todd hate Lamar? Did John hate Lamar? Did John and Todd hate each other? Did, you know, John and Todd team up against Lamar? Like, I think the bottom line is that Harbaugh had run his course here. He was stuck in his ways, unwilling to change, and that's why we didn't make the playoffs this year, and that's why he doesn't have a job, is because he's stuck in his ways. He won't get out of his own way. He won't adapt. And I don't think that changes whether or not we make the playoffs. We win the Super Bowl, maybe. Maybe he skates for another year. I'm not sure. But, like, if we made the playoffs and lost, you know, before winning the Super Bowl, I think the same conversation happens with him and Steve. And it was the right call. You know, you read a lot of the, you know, right after he got fired, you got a lot of the Schefters and the Rappaports and Josina. You know, I don't know if this is the right move and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, it's over. He's gone. He's gone. It's done. It's done. He's no longer the coach of the Baltimore Ravens. It was the right move. Anybody with half a brain should be excited about it. And on top of that, you know, I have personally been saying for months on this podcast, I've been saying it on Twitter, like, EDC was not the problem. You know, it was clearly John. It was clearly John's archaic way of managing the starting rotations, you know, dealing with the roster, putting players in the doghouse, not putting them in the doghouse, who was active on game day, just the, you know, every time a big moment came, they'd shit their pants. Like, I just feel like it was just enough. It had just been enough. Steve had enough, and he fucking fired him. So, and we got, you know, fucking made up people in here again. Kajon Melton. Yeah, that seems like a real person.
Riles Jones actually had some breaking news. It was
hi and then bye.
And then bye.
And Naldo also had a stroke during Jake's Open. I'm not sure if you see his first comment. No, the one above that.
That I don't see anything above that.
Is it showing up on stage now?
Oh,
Not-
I see that. Yeah, but I don't see that on my screen though. So I don't know why you're seeing that.
I'm not sure either, but Naldo,
What the fuck?
maybe go seek some medical attention. I'm not really sure what's going on with you there, but we did hear the news that John got fired. We have
I think
heard
I think Naldo's just speaking Spanish. That's all.
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
Some
given
bullshit.
today's
That ain't
political
even
climate,
Spanish.
given today's political climate and things going on in Minnesota, I'm not sure that he should
Uh-oh,
be.
look who it is.
Dev is Dev's on a new account, by the way, so everybody should follow it. I'm not sure why his old one got clipped. I'm sure he did something, but this is Dev's new account. No longer a Jesus guy. He's a Steve. He's given his life over to Steve Biscotti. So
Biscotti, you got to
congratulations.
say it right now.
No, if you go back to last episode, Jake said that if we fire John Harbaugh, his name is Biscotti forever. Jake said that word for word, verbatim.
Jake isn't in charge around here.
But it doesn't matter. I'm gonna.
I never
Jake
said
it.
that.
You 100% did. I'll go back and clip it. I'm positive you said it to me.
Not
You did this.
not if they fire him.
Steve
I said
told
until
me-
they win a Super Bowl.
Steve told me his name was Steve Biscotti. Jake said you can now call him Steve Biscotti. His name's Steve Biscotti. Deal with it.
Oh yeah, that's
Like,
what it
you
was
don't-
until you win a Super Bowl. Until they win a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's until you win a Super Bowl. Then he can.
Tribute. Not to break the
thing
fourth
can
wall,
come
but I
back.
know that. But I know that that's exactly what Jake said, but it doesn't matter.
but he
Nobody's
already
gonna
did.
go back. What do you mean?
So
Until he
who-
wins.
Yeah, back in
Jake
2012.
said it-
I want another
Jake
one.
said if they won the Super Bowl this year, that I could call him Biscotti. But I decided that firing Harbaugh was our Super Bowl this year. So basically, won the Super
You
Bowl.
made that executive decision.
Yep.
The truth has been revealed.
Oh yeah, and end of the bar one. John, suck my dick, fucking loser. All this shit for years. You're all dumber than me. Blah blah blah. Why'd you lose your job, John? Because you were too fucking stubborn to fire people. Too stubborn to move on from Todd, and you lost your job. End of the bar always wins. You can come join us at the end of the bar, John, if you give up the Jesus juice for a little bit and maybe come be a normal human being. But
For the record, Tom, if you're watching this stream instead of complaining on the group chat, if you had joined this, I would very quickly and efficiently leave because I cannot tolerate the curse of his.
I believe that was
bad luck.
Kevin complaining, but it's fine.
No. The other one remarked about how dare you not invite me on y'all's stream. Yeah,
Because you do high knees and talk through a fucking tin can. That's why
Exactly.
you're not invited on, Tom.
That's exactly right. Fuck Tom.
Kevin is telling
So-
you to say the name correctly.
I am saying the name correctly. You guys are all wrong. It is what it is. Once again, I will be at the forefront, and I will be proven correct by history, so it's fine. Doesn't matter. So,
Dev has
Dev,
theories.
All right. I mean, if we want to get into the crackpot conspiracy theory stuff, to me, what happened is that Steve and John met about how the year went. Steve told John because Steve is John's boss. Jeff confirmed it on Twitter that day. John reports directly to Steve. So him and Steve were having a conversation. He clearly told John to make changes to his staff. John said no. And Steve said, all right, fuck you. Here's the door. Get the fuck out of here. And it's that simple.
I have my own theories about the background of this, and I have no substantiation of this. But to me, that conversation sounds more like Steve is prioritizing Lamar. Lamar went to Steve and basically said, I want to sign an extension. I'm not signing an extension if John is still the coach because I think we've gone as far as we can go with him, and I'm frustrated. So you got to start fresh. If you do that, then I will sign a deal that basically makes him a Raven for life, for all intents and purposes, right? So like another 5-6 year deal, which is going to lead into the part of his career where he's not the same Lamar Jackson that we know and love, but could be a different version that's just as effective in different ways. But I think that Lamar is driving the ship on on the John train moving on. That's my opinion. I just think that Steve's got $300 million invested in this asset, and he wants to maximize the asset. And in order to do that, you also have to, number one, he's going to have to invest more money in it, but also he's going to have to keep the asset happy and give him the people around him that are going to give him the best opportunity to be the best version of himself professionally. So
And
I think
so
there's nothing, there's no, I'm not like, this is not an indictment of Lamar or anyone else. I think this is what had to happen. And I'm glad Lamar pushed his agenda the way it needed to be pushed. It's for his own good and the good of the team.
Right. So, I think important what you said. I don't know if Lamar ever picked up the phone and said, "Hey, Steve, you got to get rid of this dipshit John. I'm not playing for him anymore." But this was very clearly a choice to support Lamar rather than stick with your head coach.
Hey,
whether
Drew,
or not,
I have a question for you. What do you think about this comment from a bald idiot?
Yeah, Tom and I have had many long text exchanges about this. I'm not 100% sure you're hearing his real take here. I think I've yet to hear his real take. Tom is terrified of the Ravens being good. I can promise you that. And so everything that he says the Ravens should do is the opposite of what they should do, because he is terrified of the Ravens being good.
He's a Timu VD. That's what he is with these comments.
Yeah, I mean, we can go back to like 2011 and 2012 when he's leaving me drunk voicemails about like Aaron Hernandez raping and murdering my family and things like that. So, Tom's been very anti-Ravens for a very long time. We're
going to get flagged on YouTube now because.
Oh, I mean, you said it. Like, I think I have a voicemail saved. So it was like 4:30 in the morning, and I rolled over and I was like, "Why is this idiot calling me?" And then I, ignored it, and then I listened to it the next morning. It was fucking. Yeah, wild times with Tom. We could do a whole podcast on all the shit that guy and I have gotten into, but I don't know. I feel like what's lost in all of this, everybody is sucking Todd's dick right now for going on the Ryan Ripken show, and essentially just spelling out like why he got fired. I don't know why everybody's like Todd's a real one and Todd being honest. Like all he did was do the same shit that got him fired. I mean, all he did was say that, we should have been better this year. Like that's all you morons said into a microphone all fucking year was we should have been better. We should have done this. We should have done that. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Like it's a fucking win.
Okay, he a real one because where's Zach Orr at? Where's Zach Orr at?
Who cares? Why? So
Zach Orr is protecting his job security.
I want Zach Orr. I want Zach Orr to take accountability like Todd Martin took accountability. So
yeah,
what?
But what accountability? What accountability did Todd actually take, Trippy? I mean, in all honesty, like I don't have any issues with Todd personally. He seems like a nice guy. I enjoyed his. He said
what he said. He said like they
I
wasn't
got to coach.
I should have.
He said he should have coached Lamar better. Like, congratulations, you've already lost your job. The season's already over. Like, where was this self-reflection week 2? You know what I mean? Like it's already done. It's just it's over with.
He says Zach Orr getting the shape up right now.
No, Zach Orr's posting on Instagram some shit about I don't know, like looking forward to my next chapter or whatever the fuck he said. I don't remember, but
he's gonna be on the move to the Pacific Northwest.
Hey, Drew, this is what I was saying, right? Hey, Drew, this is what I was saying, right? Now, I'm not saying Todd Martin lying, right? I think it's still more to the story. Because, like, let's be real, right? Regardless of how people felt about him, like, the play calling wasn't all that. We was up in plenty of games. It wasn't like we were struggling scoring points. It was the fucking defense. The defense played like ass all fucking year. We was up double digits.
The offense looked disjointed all year, other than that beginning of the Buffalo game.
Yeah, you're right. But,
and Lamar was hurt, and,
there's a whole bunch at this point, it's over now. Shit, it's a reset.
Yeah, but that's my problem with this whole, Todd took accountability. Like, congratulations, you took accountability after week 18, after the year's over, and after you lost your job. Okay, like, if you want to take accountability and you want to talk about, like making change and being a real one, as people are calling him, do that shit in week 3. You know what I mean? Like you've had now 3 years here. You had 2023, his first year here, and with 6 fucking carries to the running back in the AFC Championship game. Like this is the same guy. Yeah, but again, so
I think it was the
we
offensive
know.
line, and Harbaugh had a part of that. I mean,
Yeah,
but
he did have
I
a part
mean,
of it, but again, so Todd is calling plays that need, 3.5 seconds to develop, and he's got Daniel Falele playing right guard, and he knows that Daniel Falele can't hold that block for 3.5 seconds, and he keeps calling that fucking play. Your quarterback gets fucking killed every play, and then you wonder why he's hurt. Like it's just it's a whole bunch of revisionist history, hindsight's 2020 from Todd. Like, congratulations, you figured out you were part of the problem, Todd. We all knew you were part of the problem. Like, this is the same thing. This organization or that group in the organization treats us like we're fucking stupid. They treat us like we're some kind of fucking morons that are just
it
like,
was something.
drooling at the mouth drunks at the end of the fucking bar that are these entitled retards. Like, we're not that. We have eyes. We can watch the fucking game. We know what happened. It's right there. Like, it's right there that Daniel Falele and Andrew Voorhees were fucking awful at football. Like, anybody with a half
What
a
about
brain can see it. Go ahead.
what about Kyle Van Noy? What about the defense? The defense
Yeah,
was
I mean, they
ass.
suck.
Yeah,
They
you don't
suck
want to
too.
get Drew started on Kyle Van Noy.
I got plenty of fucking smoke for that moron. Fucking him and Marlon.
Bro, I
Stay
swear
off
to
of
God,
fucking.
bro. I hope the
Stay
Raiders
off of
don't
Twitter.
bring him back. To be honest with you, we should have never brought him back anyway, because I was a big County fan more than him. And you know how I feel. I'm not high on these podcasters.
Don't say the R word in 2026.
Shit,
There's no
we
place.
both had the same idea there.
I had to break news to Montante today over text message that Mike McDaniel is black. He did not know. He was not aware that was a thing. I had to explain to him that he was like the Rachel Dolezal of head coaches, and then he's like, "Oh, I wasn't aware of that."
I thought
All
he
right,
was
so what
Asian.
y'all think next, though?
I still want to get over what happened because I'm getting like irritated every time I open Twitter, which is not good for anybody. Just reading this slew of hot takes that are just awful.
Bro, but
Just-
if you think about it, yo, that's what it's gonna be. That's why I was mad. Like when Jeff came out and said, "Yeah, Todd and Lamar, they didn't mesh well together." Bro, that was bullshit, bro.
But he's so. Did you only watch the clip that Bobby posted and read what Bobby said? Because what Jeff actually said versus what that clip portrayed are two different things.
I ain't gonna lie to you. Once I saw what Jeff Zeback wrote, I ain't paid none of that shit no mind because I already knew it was a fake. I mean, I already knew
Yeah,
that
so
shit
you got kind of clickbaited by Bobby there. Jeff's bigger point was that like clearly Lamar and Todd were not on the same page on the field. And so not that they had personal issues and they hated each other and there was some fucking, amazing struggle going on there, just that what Todd wanted to do with the offense versus what Lamar wanted to do did not mesh well. And I don't think he's wrong there either. I mean, if we're being honest, he's, Todd wanted to call an offense that ran a certain way, and we didn't have the line to support that. And he refused to get out of his ways and adapt to the team that he had. Instead, he wanted to continue to keep calling plays that were getting Lamar killed. It's really the only way to look at it. And so, like, I don't think that Todd and Lamar were like ready to fight each other every day, and that Todd hates Lamar, and that Lamar hates Todd, and that John hates Lamar and Todd. Like, I don't think any of that's real. I think they. Go ahead.
I think it was only one player that hated Todd Monken.
Yeah, that would
and
be
I hope
Rashad
he ain't
Bateman.
on our
We know who that
because he wasn't
is.
getting no targets.
Yeah, that would be
I
Rashad
think
Bateman, and that's
look. I think to be honest with you, I think he was the player that leaked that shit out. Remember when they try to say the players ain't like Todd Monken? Because why they like? Let's be real. They really was averaging 30 points a game. I mean, before Lamar got hurt, even when Snoop was in the game. So like, why
32 and a half, I think, actually.
Right. It's only one player, bro, and he ass, bro. Like,
and
he don't deserve to be on this team no more.
I just think a lot of the reporting is not putting everything in context of this hatred and tension and anger and messed up feelings towards each other were not personal. They were business. They were between the lines. They were problems with Todd's in-game adjustments. I would say that when we start hearing things about how the defensive players did not care for Zach Orr, it's not going to be that they didn't like Zach Orr as a person. It's going to be that they didn't like his play calls and that they thought, playing soft off of wide receivers or playing too much zone or, his insanely stupid pass rushing schemes, like that they had problems with those. And that's really why John doesn't have a job anymore, is because everybody sees the product on the field is not working and they continue to go out week after week and do the exact same things and they don't work. And then they get in front of a microphone and they say, yeah, that didn't work. We're going to try harder next week. And then next week comes, they do the exact same thing. And then they, again, it's just an endless process with them. It's the same fucking thing over and over again. It's the same mistakes. It's the same fucking abandoning the run when you're up. It's the same, on 3rd and 12 when you're up 10, you're playing 8 yards off the wide receiver and guarding the sticks. And then they convert a 3rd and 12 every time. Like, the red zone offense sucked all year.
All season they was doing that shit. All season. Like you would have thought it was 3rd and inches, bro. Like every 3rd and 12. It never failed, bro. Like that shit was sad, man.
Right.
Like
and so
I ain't gonna lie, bro. This probably was the sorriest defense I ever saw in Ravens history, bro. Like from top to bottom, like missing tackles. Like, and that's another thing too. It's bad that the scheming fucked up. But it's fucked up when you missing tackles, bro. Easy tackles. You got the running back in the backfield. Roquan Smith missing tackles. Marlon Humphrey missing tackles. What's the other boy name?
Gilman missed a ton of tackles.
Bro,
hold
on. Let me say something about him, bro. He ass, bro. I'm sorry. I gotta call it out, bro. He was doing good, bro.
He made an absolutely phenomenal play on that 4th down in the first half. I mean, absolutely phenomenal play to stop that. And
That was a good play. Yeah.
And then he ended our season by fucking targeting Kyle Hamilton. He should have been ejected for targeting. I mean, clear helmet to helmet, clear intent, and just fucking smoked Kyle Hamilton for no reason. So,
I didn't see the play, bro.
Oh, it was bad. It was bad. It was Gilman and
it was on a slant. He fucking destroyed Kyle.
Were converging on the and he just missed. Killed Kyle.
Drew.
Yeah. What's up?
Guess who's the Ravens head coach right now?
You.
Nobody. Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie, yo, I'm happy John Harbaugh gone because I hated that shit. Like, it's no disrespect to his father. Like, I respect all of them, but that shit was getting stale. And I was watching this Instagram video, right? Now, remember when the Ravens, who they beat? I think they beat the Packers, right? And the dude broke the video down. Yeah, after the game in the locker room, Harbaugh was like, "Hey, how you think my wife would feel if I invite the guys over tomorrow?" And you saw how everybody was looking like they wasn't even happy for her. They probably was looking like, "The fuck?" You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm just happy that shit over with, because now I feel like, because fans trying to shit on EDC. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, EDC did draft some draft picks, he did have some hits, he had some misses.
He's got some flaws as a GM, and like no GM's gonna be perfect. You're never gonna bat 1,000. It's fine. What always bothered me is that, like, I don't know what some of EDC's mid-round picks are because John won't use them, or John won't use them the way that they should be used.
Right, and see, and that's what I'm saying though, and that's why I say now we probably, when we get a new head coach, now him and EDC, they can bond together and get some, because I feel like with the new coach coming in here, he not going, like, it's so many, like, our team is talented, right? Now, it's some players need to get the fuck out the team, right? I ain't going to name them players, but y'all know who they
Rashad Bateman.
But this team is talented, right? Now, if we add, like, some more pieces, like a pass rush, you feel me? Even draft another pass rusher, you know what I mean? Get, like, another, get some linemen that can come in here and block, some motherfuckers that want to come in here and block. Like, that's all they know is blocking. You feel me? Ain't scared to block nobody. Maybe get another wide receiver. Give Tez Walker some more bump. You know what I mean? Bring Isaiah Likely back. I feel like we got talent, bro.
Bring D-Hop back too. Bring D-Hop back. We need D-Hop.
Oh yeah.
With
bring
targets.
D-Hop back too. Yeah.
On paper, before the year, you were the Super Bowl favorite. So clearly, everybody knows the talent is there. That's not like I don't think that's breaking news to anybody. And the whole problem is that John couldn't fucking use the talent to the best of its abilities and couldn't win football games with it because he's old because the game has passed him by, because he's stubborn and stuck in his ways, and that's why he's no longer here. And I think that, we can do to death, what went wrong, or, what actually happened in that meeting room with him and Steve. But the reality is that he was an old man stuck in his ways, and he needs to go somewhere else, because all he was doing was ruining his legacy. I watched that, the Ravens posted like a 7.5-minute video, basically like career highlights, thanking him for whatever. And you look at the young John Harbaugh and you're like, fuck, this team's flying around. They're playing physical. Everybody loves him. He's fucking animated on the sideline. And then you look at him now and he's just making stupid fucking faces.
Yeah, the dumb faces, right.
It's just a dumb face slideshow for the last, 5 years. Like, at some point, it had to end. And it ended, finally. Like, it's done. I don't dislike Harbaugh as a person. I don't dislike Todd Monken as a person. I don't dislike Zach Orr as a person. It's strictly business. They did not fit here anymore. We're trying to do something else. We're trying to win, and they were in the way of that. And so now it's over. Now,
18 years is a long time, bro. Like, I've been out of high school for 18 years. That's a long ass time. Like,
yeah, I mean, he got hired the year that I graduated high school.
Right.
Like that's a long fucking time ago.
I wasn't even in my 20s yet.
Right. I've had 2 children. I've gotten married. I bought a house. I've worked, like I got 2 college degrees. Like, a lot has changed in my life over the span of John Harbaugh being our coach. Like, it's time. He had to go. Everything ends. And credit to the Ravens too. I would say the Seahawks were the first team to do this, or actually the Patriots were, and they picked Bill Belichick over Tom Brady, and that did not work out well for them. And then the Seahawks did the same thing of picking Pete Carroll over Russell Wilson, and that didn't work out for them. And so I think the Ravens looked at that precedent and were like, yeah, we're going to pick the quarterback. That's the right move. You put your future on Lamar's shoulders. That's the guy. That's your franchise. That's your franchise player. You pay him like a franchise player. You got to take his side. The players ultimately are who win you and lose you games on the field. So, you got to always take the player side there.
Well, and no matter what, the quarterback, the franchise quarterback anyway, a guy who, is every year an MVP favorite and, the reason that the Ravens are a favorite to win the Super Bowl, that guy is going to have a lot more influence over your locker room than your head coach is. And the head coach needs to be in good graces of the quarterback as opposed to the quarterback being in the good graces of the head coach, in my opinion.
And I'm sure if you got an honest clip from Lamar, I'm sure he had some problems with Harbaugh's philosophies and choices. I mean, there's just no way he didn't. Like, this is his worst year of his career injury-wise because of, who John refused to replace on the offensive line. So
right. Well, and like we were seeing frustration from Lamar, and it was always after a sack or always after him making a mistake because of the fact that he was under pressure. So, like, it's obvious where that frustration's coming from. It's not – I mean, and I personally think that Lamar is a very accountable player. I think, like, at the end of the day, he's going to tell you he could have done something different. I don't think he could do anything different a lot of the time because he's trying to compensate for the obvious shortcomings of that offensive line a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you could look back at a lot of plays this year, and there were times that Lamar held the ball for too long, maybe should have taken a 5-yard run instead of waiting an extra second for a pass to develop that never showed up. Like there are, game by game and play by play, there are little things you can critique him about. But again, the overarching issue was that he had nobody blocking for him.
Well, and a lot of the time, holding the ball too long meant holding the ball for 2 seconds, 3 seconds.
Right.
So it's like, what are you supposed to do?
Yeah. If you look back at that Green Bay game plan, like the reason why it worked so well is because Huntley was getting the ball out so fast because those were the only options for him. You know what I mean? Whereas, you had Lamar under center and obviously he's a better quarterback. So you give him more complex plays, but the rest of the offense is not capable of those complex plays. On top of that, you had, Mr. Cardio, Rashad Bateman just not getting open. You had a lot of drops. You weren't using D-Hop enough. You weren't using Tez Walker enough. Like, there were a lot of problems with that offense, a lot of problems with the personnel, a lot of problems with the schemes, a lot of problems with the play calling. Like, it was just time. It was this was it. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't matter if they made the playoffs to me or not. Like, this team had some serious flaws and were being held back by coaching, and now that problem is solved. I would say.
At the end of the day, you go back to any game that was lost this year. To me, this year, like obviously, you want to go back to the Buffalo game last year. Mark Andrews fucked up, and like you go to a bunch of the playoff games over Lamar's career. There's a mix of player mistakes and coaching mistakes, but overall, if you look at over the past 4 years, let's call it 4 years, going back to the season, Mike McDonald's first season. I think that's 4 years ago, right?
It was 2023. Or 2022, you're right. Yeah, 2022.
Yeah, so 4 seasons. You go back to that. That's where, to me, the big, like, what the fuck is going on here started when we blew that game against Miami. And a lot of the reason, and we talked about this, like, obviously the defense fucked up, but at the same time, the offensive philosophy changed suddenly in the fourth quarter. And this was, like, indicative of everything that's wrong with the Harbaugh, the end of the Harbaugh era.
And important to point out that was still Roman, so that it was independent of the offensive coordinator, that it was clearly the head coach making that call. And again, that's why he had to go.
Yeah. So, like, you go back to all these, like, historically, like, shockingly bad losses the Ravens had over the past 4 or 5 years. We'll even go back 5 years, but it probably is the last 4 years. And it's, in my opinion, 100% on the coaching. 100%. Not even 1% can be put on players because they're only executing the game plan and the plays that are called. And the coaching philosophy was so fucked up for the past couple of years that it's just like you could have the I wouldn't even call it the Pro Bowl team now, the All Pro. What's called you field the All Pro team. They're still gonna fucking lose in that situation because of the just absolute ass backwards way that shit was being called by the coaching.
Yeah, so I don't want to give players passes because, Mark Andrews has to catch that 2-point conversion. Mark Andrews can't fumble. Zay can't fumble. Lamar can't turn the ball over like he did. But the real problem was that the coaches put us in a position where one bad play and one mistake killed our game. And that's really the issue.
Like I said, I'm talking more about regular season because the playoffs, like, you can't ignore that Mark Andrews has this crazy 20+% drop rate in the playoffs. Yeah. You can't ignore that Zay Flowers has this tendency to put the ball on the ground, whether it be drop a pass or fumble the ball. So, like, those things, those aren't coaching by any means. But at the same time, when you're talking about a game where a lot of these games we talk about are ones the Ravens should have won because they were leading by so much. They were in a position to win these games. And the coaching philosophy, just like they huddled up and were like, hey, how can we fuck this up as like catastrophically as possible? And then they were like, that's a great idea.
They took their foot off the gas.
Yeah.
They played soft on defense. They stopped trying to score on offense. And then the other team would start to make a comeback, and they couldn't flip the switch back again.
Right.
They had, counted it as a win, kind of gave up and just tried to coast, and then they got fucking, their shit kicked in.
Well, and like I was thinking about this earlier. I think one of the themes of these games that we lost that we should have won over the past 3 seasons. So going back to, and it traces back to the AFC Championship game, the 2023 AFC Championship game. We ran the ball, 8 times, 6 times, 8 times. Yeah, with running backs. And then I feel like John was like, okay, I can't do that again. But then, like, when they would get in the game, he'd be like, you know what? They would never expect me to do that really fucking dumb thing I did. If I do that again, then it'll catch them off guard because no one would expect me to do that again. And he just did it over and over again. I was like, what are you doing, man? You went out and EDC gave him a tool to completely remove any option of him doing that again. And he did it over and over, despite having fucking Derrick Henry on the team. He has 2 of the best ball carriers in the fucking NFL on the same.
And then on top of that, he would say,
just completely ignore the run.
And then on top of that, he would say, "Oh yeah, I wish we ran the ball more." After the fact.
Yeah, after the fact. Like, hey, you know what? Of course, I would have liked to have Derrick Henry out there more. Hey, idiot! You get to tell anybody on the fucking sideline to get on the field anytime you want. You're in charge, you fucking moron. What do you mean you would have liked it? Just fucking make it happen.
I listened to that Todd interview in the car on the way home. I was sitting in traffic, and he would say things like, we should have done this better. And it's like, you were fucking in charge of that. Like that was your call. The red zone offense was
Right.
you. The running back rotation, you had to have a hand in that. That wasn't done
It
independent of you.
sounded like Harbaugh when he would give those answers was like, like basically be like, man, I'm racking my brain. I don't know why that happened.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, we
how
know
did
why
that happen?
Because you let it happen, you fucking idiot.
Like, that, like it would be like a guy, fucking covered in blood holding a murder weapon and then standing over a dead body to police being like, yeah, damn, I don't know how that guy died. And it's like, well, you fucking killed him.
It's the fucking meme, the bike meme. The guy riding the bike, holding the stick, sticking it in the wheel, flipping off, and then holding his knee like someone else did something to him.
Yeah. Yeah, it was all John inflicted all these wounds and then would go to the media week after week and be like, God damn, that one just got away from me. I don't know how that happened. I'm gonna investigate and I'm gonna watch film. And it's like, you don't have to investigate and watch film, John. Like, we know what happened.
Everyone knows, right?
We watched, yeah, and that's why the end of the bar shit and the clearly Kyle Hamilton calling Ravens fans spoiled was a John statement that he put out to the world. But again, that's how John Harbaugh thought of us as fans. That he's like, oh, I got these fucking morons that I'm going to steal all their money and waste all their time watching these games. And they're too dumb to know any different. I can just say and do whatever the fuck I want, and nobody's going to hold me accountable for it. Anybody questions them and, they're a drunk moron. Or, God forbid you're a media person and you question Chad Steele's going to come to your house in a black SUV and fucking kidnap you and throw you in the Inner Harbor or something. Like this is the, that's the culture that John built. So when Josina Anderson talks about, how important John's culture was to the Ravens, that's the culture he built, a culture of no accountability and no ability to reflect on bad things that have happened and make a change. That you can just lie to people's faces and gaslight them and say, oh, we got him next week, guys. Yeah, that sucked, guys. That was fucking terrible. We blew first team since 1901 to blow a 25-point lead, but in the fourth quarter. But we'll figure it out next week. We won't do that.
It was
again.
A bad ripoff of the Belichick run to Cincinnati.
Right. I mean, that was, I think John modeled his coaching, from that press conference.
Right.
Where he was just like, oh yeah, I worked for Bill. Bill won 6 rings. So I'm just going to say, fuck it. We're on to next week and everybody's going to love it. But then next week comes and you just do the same thing over and over again. The difference between Bill then and John was that Bill actually changed shit. They actually won after that. You know what I mean? He said, we're on to Cincinnati. And then guess what? They went on to win a ring. So if John went to the media and said, yeah, fuck it, that one got away from me, we're on to next week. But then he didn't make the same fucking mistake, it would be a whole different ballgame. I don't think we'd be sitting here talking about John Harbaugh looking for a new fucking job if he was capable of changing. But he's too stubborn. And again, when you go to the owner, your boss, and he tells you to do something and you say, no, fuck you, like, of course you're going to get fired. Like, fucking independent of any personal relationships, Lamar could be fucking kicking down Steve's door saying, don't fire him, don't fire him, don't fire him. But like, if you go to your boss and say, go fuck yourself, I'm not doing this, like, obviously he's going to fire you. John got, his ego got too big. He got, he thought too highly of himself and it fucking burned him in the end. He really thought that he was going to run it back with the same fucking coordinators next year and that everything was going to be okay. I mean, that is, if you read shit that's been put out since then, like, that's what John thought was going to happen. He thought he was going to go have a nice little meeting on Steve's yacht with him.
Yep.
And that he was going to come back and shit was going to be sweet and they were going to do the same fucking thing over and over again. Steve finally put his foot down.
So
3 years too late, in my opinion, but,
John made the same exact mistake with Steve that he made in all these games, and he just got way too comfortable. He went into that meeting thinking, like, there's no way that I'm losing my job. I've been here 18 years. I got my guy Lamar, who's going to save my ass no matter what. We almost got in. Oh, if Tyler Loop didn't miss that kick. Yeah. Guess what, John? You blew it. You put the prevent defense on the fucking yacht and got your doors blown off. You got Miami, on the yacht. So, I guess it's kind of apropos of everything that happened, over the last couple of years.
And one more thing before I don't want to forget this. A lot of people are very critical of our front office for the reports that have come out that said that they tried to advocate for John's job. The front office reports directly to Steve, and the report specifically said front office. So I don't know if it was EDC, Sashi Brown, somebody else, all three of them together that tried to advocate to keep John. They report directly to Steve, and John reports directly to Steve. If you are EDC or anybody in that front office, you absolutely cannot go into Steve's office and say, fire John, Because if he
No,
doesn't
of course
fire
not.
John, the target immediately is on your back. John's
Right,
going to hate
exactly.
you. Your professional relationship is completely fucking cooked, and that team would never function again. So, like, they had to advocate for John because at the end of the day, it had to be Steve's decision. It was Steve's call to fire John. It was always had to be Steve's call to fire John. It was never going to be EDC's call. It was never going to be Sashi Brown's call. It was never going to be anybody else but Steve Biscotti who made that decision to fire John Harbaugh.
Biscotti.
Never. Biscotti. It was never going to be anybody but him. So, again, these Twitter narratives that are going fucking nuts, like, you're just use your brain before you tweet. Like, I think you should type out your tweets, read them, think about it for a few seconds, and then maybe click send if you realize that, you know, it's an intelligent take. I think that there should be some kind of rule for that, but I don't know.
Well, thanks for putting this. Yes. So,
yeah.
Thanks for putting this comment on because that's the perfect segue to the next thing I wrote out. So, Will, I'm going to come to you, obviously. As of this recording, the Ravens have interviewed Vance Joseph and Davis Mills for their head coaching vacancy and have requested interviews with Clint Kubiak, Anthony Weaver, Robert Saleh, Matt Nagy, and Brian Flores. And you'd expect as the playoffs go,
I
and
saw
teams start getting
Kingsbury's on there
eliminated.
too.
Yeah,
Yes.
Kingsbury's on there too.
Yes, Cliff Kingsbury is on there too. And you expect as the playoffs progress and teams start getting eliminated, you might see a request for like a Jesse Minter or a Chris Shula, maybe Mike LaFleur, but we haven't heard anything about that yet. But either
I don't
way,
think you're going to have to request an interview with Mike LaFleur if that's the route they end up going, because it would be because LaFleur got fired, I would assume. So I don't think you have to request an interview for a fired guy.
Not Matt.
Not
Matt.
Not the Packers head coach, the Rams offensive coordinator.
Different LaFleur. Maybe get different last names so I don't look like an asshole on stream then. Different first names.
Yes,
you can differentiate yourself. M. LaFleur. What a fucking. I assume they're related, right?
I think they're
French
brothers.
All French people are the same.
Fucking dickbag move by their parents to have two coaches that are M. LaFleur. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to keep track of that shit? You know, like, name them something interesting so that I can differentiate them. Dickheads.
But anyway, and this is open to all y'all, but I'll go to Will first. Ideally, if you had your pick of the litter, who's your guy?
Kubiak is my guy. I think just the trend across the league, the teams that have gone with one of these, you call them offensive, like boy wonders, they have tended to do much better than the defensive guys who go and take over a team.
D'Amico Ryans and Mike McDonald say hello.
Okay, I get that, but you also have who's the ass? Jonathan Gannon in Arizona, who was
he had a midget. He had a video game addicted midget for quarterback. So I don't know if I can really hold him accountable for that.
Yeah,
they've been a fucking dumpster fire. So.
And
I'm not.
And one of the guys that was named, what's his name? The guy who went to the Jets, Robert Saleh. Yeah. So but in my opinion, when you have you want to talk about video games, Lamar Jackson is a fucking video game. You have probably the most dynamic offensive player in the league. We're about to extend him, and like I said, probably make him a Raven for life. I want a head coach who's going to maximize his skill set and who's going to be really just tied to Lamar directly. And also I feel like that guy is going to bring with him someone who's going to really attack the defense in a different way than we've been seeing. Like Zach Orr was just kind of like a conduit of John Harbaugh.
He had no other experience coaching outside of being underneath John Harbaugh. So
right.
That is
the only reason he
knew.
got that job is because he was a John Harbaugh player who then was
technically Drew. Technically, Zach Orr had 1 year of a shit show in Jacksonville, where he was the linebackers coach under Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Urban Meyer was too busy, banging 12-year-olds at a bar or whatever the fuck he was doing. I don't remember.
And then
she might have been of age. I don't know. I don't like Urban Meyer. I think he's kind of a fucking scumbag. He, allowed Aaron Hernandez to murder multiple people and get away with it. He, did a whole bunch of shit at Ohio State that's probably illegal. So fuck Urban Meyer. But
my ideal, I guess set of hires is Kubiak head coach, Brian Flores defensive coordinator, and then the fact that Mike McDaniel is Mike McDaniel's available now. Go get him as an offensive coordinator. He is to me somebody who doesn't command respect as a leader of the team because he's like a fucking nerd.
Dork.
He's a dork, but like he's also obviously he's one of these guys who has like a fucking brain for the offense in the NFL. So I would like to see him back in a position where he could just focus on that and not try and like be friends with the players and like try and act cool. Just fucking go like, draw up plays on the computer and be a fucking dork and whatever else you do. But Kubiak is the head coach, and I know you want Minter though.
So my argument for Minter, I would actually go. My ideal staff would be Minter, McDaniel, and probably Schwartz as defensive coordinator. And so the reason why I would want to go Minter over Kubiak and then have McDaniel as the offensive coordinator is that I want one voice talking to Lamar. I don't want multiple voices. I don't want multiple points of view. I want one guy whose sole job is the offense, and that's it. And then I want the defense. You put a ton of money into that defense. You've got a ton of pieces, and they look disjointed, and they look like we have holes because, Zach Orr and John Harbaugh is a negligent combo for defensive purposes. So I feel like if you get a defensive-minded head coach and also somebody who's worked under Harbaugh before, which I think is kind of important in terms of your next hire because you want somebody with hands-on experience with the Ravens, but also with somebody with hands-on experience of what John did wrong and where John went awry on a lot of things that he was preaching. And, so you now have Minter who's worked under both Harbaughs. He's got a very similar career trajectory to Mike Macdonald, and Mike Macdonald's been a very good head coach. Seems to have taken things that he learned under John, put his own spin on them, stopped doing the dumb shit that John would do, and it's benefited the Seahawks greatly. So that's my pitch for Minter. If we hired Jesse Minter, Clint Kubiak, Brian Flores, I'd be fine with it. I don't think there's really much of a difference in my book for any of those three. I could be talked into Anthony Weaver, and I could probably be talked into, I don't know, maybe the kid from the Rams, Don Shula's grandson or whatever the fuck he is. I'd probably be okay with him too. Yeah, Chris Shula. I'd probably be okay with him too. I think that we're not used to being in a position where we have a, complete blank slate and you can kind of go anywhere with it. And what really matters to me is that you get a head coach and an offensive coordinator who Lamar trusts completely. And somebody who sees what kind of talent Lamar is and wants to let Lamar be Lamar rather than try to fit Lamar in this little box of what they think a quarterback should be. And also, I want somebody defensively that is going to emphasize getting pressure on the quarterback, because that is why our defense sucked this year is they got no pressure on the quarterback. It doesn't help that, Marlon Humphrey can't play zone and gets torched every other play, and Malachi Starks looks lost out there, and Gilman can't fucking tackle to save his life, and Nate Wiggins is undersized, and, a whole bunch of myriad of other issues, and Roquan's lost a step. None of those help, but the real issue with the defense is you were not getting to the quarterback. And so you need somebody who's going to come in defensively and fix that. And I think you got a lot of the pieces here already, in terms of Mike Green, Tavius Robinson. You can probably bring Draymond Jones back fairly cheap. I don't think he's going to cost you top-tier pass rusher money. You've got Travis Jones, looked like a whole new guy after signing that extension. You got your fat space eater and Jenkins locked up. You got a lot of pieces on that defense. Maybe Starks is better next year. I don't know. You still have Kyle Hamilton. Hopefully Marlon's gone. You still have Nate Wiggins. You got a lot of great pieces on that defense that were not utilized properly. And so I think you got to put a real emphasis on bringing in a coaching staff that's going to prioritize getting the quarterback and keeping Lamar upright. I think those are your two.
Yeah, and we're probably going to realize some
hidden gems.
And we're going to get some cap back on Matabike. I think the fact that we extended 2 defensive tackles tells you where that's headed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're not gonna talk too much about it, but I think everybody kind of knows what's going on there. Everybody's seen it, heard it, whatever. So
shout out Visualist Dave. Miami just scored to take the lead.
That was this guy Tony. I know. I don't want Grant to.
He's
think that I'm
not
giving him-
related to him.
This guy is good. I would like to have this motherfucker. What's this guy? Malachi Tony. Is that his
Malachi
name?
Tony.
Yeah,
he's like
he's
Kadarius
very
Tony,
good.
but he catches the ball.
He's very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
He reminds me of like
Percy Harvin, Tavon Austin.
No, like I'm thinking more like a Debo Samuel, but like you know
I
what he
see that
is?
too.
No, you know what he is? He's a Tyreek Hill, but I assume
Well,
without all the
I was gonna say, does he beat women?
Yeah, all the charges and illegitimate children.
Yeah. I feel like those two things go hand in hand with Tyreek Hill, but nobody wants to talk about it.
He reminds me of Tyreek Hill a lot.
Yeah.
The way he plays.
Just again, hopefully he respects women instead of violating them.
Right.
What is it with Chiefs wide receivers and domestic assault issues, by the way? You got Tyreek Hill, Rashee Rice, fucking Xavier Worthy, a lot of woman beaters on that team. Concerning.
What about the running back?
Kareem Hunt. Yeah, forgot about him.
Kareem Hunt. Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of what he did was catch passes. Like that was a lot of what set him apart from other guys.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Andy
Trippy,
Reid,
you got any thoughts?
Kind of a problem.
For the head
Trippy.
coach. My
Trippy,
loss.
you awake?
I think Trippy would hire himself as head coach.
Probably.
I think that would be the move. I'd be down for a Trippy, regime.
We already know what it would look like.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't bring Todd back, but that's just me. Again, that interview really rubbed me the wrong way. A lot of people are, he came off great. I thought he sounded fucking awful, and I'm so glad that he's gone. If that's the mindset that was, running rampant in our fucking building, I'm all set with that.
Well, I mean, I think it's okay. So I forget who we were talking about last year. To me, I think it was maybe KBN. It was like, what is Todd supposed to say? He's going to be interviewed. He's getting requests to be interviewed for a head coaching position. So he's not going to go on a podcast and go fucking, burn the bridges.
Don't go on the fucking podcast.
No,
Just
I
don't say
agree.
anything.
I would agree with you there, but he went on the podcast. So of course he's going to have some kind of like positive messaging and but make it sound like he wants to, like things are.
You lost your job though. Like there's nothing to be positive about. You're not employed by the Baltimore Ravens anymore. You're not going to work with Lamar Jackson anymore. There's no reason to be fake positive. And so if your options are to not go on the Ryan Ripken show, continue to go about your day and not fucking gaslight the fan base, or to go on the Ryan Ripken show and gaslight the fan base, like you always opt to shut your fucking mouth. It's the same problem I had with Rashad Bateman early on. It's the same problem I have with a lot of players of just shut the fuck up. Nobody cares. Kyle Van Noy, nobody cares about your ESPN spot. Nobody cares about your Kyle Van Noy had some fucking sickening tweet today about like, I love Baltimore and I can't wait to come back for season 13. Like, goodbye. Get the fuck out of here. We don't want you. Fucking Kyle Hamilton had a tweet today talking about like, I didn't think anybody in the country cared about professional football until I played in Baltimore. And it's like, okay, bud, well, you just called me spoiled fucking 3 weeks ago. So like maybe go fuck yourself. Like, don't tweet. Nobody needs to hear from you right now. And then you got poor Lamar posting a fucking birthday post on Instagram, and retard Jonas Schaefer's like, oh, he didn't post any pictures of John Harbaugh. Oh my God, they must hate each other. Like, Jonas, fuck off. Everybody just shut the fuck up. Let the Ravens hire their fucking coach. Stop fucking theorizing what the fuck you think happened. Nobody knows. Nobody cares. It's done. It's over with.
And I will say this too about whoever the next coach is, the Ravens head coaching job. Now in this coaching cycle, it's not even a question. It's the most sought after position. I would say in the league, it's there's an argument it is the most, but it's certainly one of the top 3 to 5 without any argument whatsoever. And I think you could make the argument that again that it's either 2 or 1 in that top 3. But like we're gonna get whoever the fuck we want, quite frankly. Yeah, we're gonna get anybody we want.
If the Bills fire McDermott, I feel like the Bills, the Ravens, and the Chiefs are kind of the top 3 jobs, and it's a coin flip at that point. It's personal preference, a whole bunch of fucking shit could go into that. But I think that we have our choice of who we want. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think that anybody's going to be offered the Baltimore Ravens job and say no to it, is my assumption.
And then whoever gets hired, and it's going to, okay, in my opinion, like, it's going to be a young guy. Like, you think about when Harbaugh got hired, he was in his early 40s at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, like, it's going to be a younger guy because Steve is hiring someone who he intends on keeping around a very long time. There's no
Yeah,
situation
probably
where
longer
we're
than
hiring.
they deserve to be kept around. But,
Yeah, well, maybe, yeah, but like, whoever we're hiring is someone we're hiring with the intention of making this person a long tenured coach, and they are going to be able to hire whoever they want, and then those coordinator positions are going to be extremely valuable to even to people making lateral moves. I think coming to this organization and being a part of a team. Number one, like again, any team that has Lamar Jackson as the cornerstone of the franchise, that's a very desirable place to go. Maybe
you
it
can have a
wasn't
lot
as
of eyes on you.
desirable. Yeah, maybe it wasn't as desirable with Harbaugh as the head coach because people knew how hamstrung they'd be and it was John's way or no way or whatever. But like, I feel like now like you said, with a clean slate, man, this is a very exciting time to be a Ravens fan. And for any coach getting a call, holy shit, what a fucking opportunity, you know?
Yeah, it's just I think you got your pick of the litter. I think that you need to look at the next 10 years for the Ravens. I think that's you're hiring a guy and you want him to be the head coach for the next 10 years because that, conceivably takes you through the rest of Lamar Jackson's career.
Ole Miss just scored.
That's poor VD. It's still got 3 minutes left. It's probably still going to be Miami to win this, but
we'll see. Carson Beck stinks.
So I actually read it was Bill Walsh said that no head coach should stay in one spot for more than 10 years because after 10 years, things kind of go south, whatever, like you've been there for too long, it might be time to move on, whatever. I think that's how Steve needs to approach his hire is that you're looking for a guy for the next decade, and then maybe in a decade you can revisit that. And so you don't want somebody who's going to be a hit and run, Obviously, you can make a mistake with who you hire. Maybe you hire Clint Kubiak and he's not ready. He's not ready to be a head coach. Maybe you hire.
I wouldn't call that a mistake though, because again, like you don't know that, right? But like you got to.
You're taking a gamble. I guess.
I've said this to you a couple times. I don't think it's possible to fuck this up unless they go with a retread or you know what I mean. They go like, oh, we got to get like to me. And I saw this was Jeff Z had this. It was like Bill Belichick is a crazy fucking thing to say. I told
Jeff I was going to hold him personally responsible because in his article he put Bill Belichick and Kevin Stefanski. And if we hire either one of those gentlemen, I am holding Jeff personally responsible for it.
Yeah, again, that's not the position we're in right now. But and like we're okay. So hiring and I saw like at one point I saw odds and it was like Mike McCarthy's in there. So like people like that. I understand their names are going to get talked about, and I don't know if I've seen anybody mention John Gruden. I love John Gruden. I think he should get another job,
actually Greg Roman had higher odds to get the next head coach.
Okay,
than John Gruden.
John Gruden, I would love to see get another job, but not here because to me he's just a different flavor of John Harbaugh.
Yeah, he's maybe a little more. I don't know what the right word is. Like he's a little more hip to current day shit than John is. Because he's been out of the league for a while, so he's been forced to watch it from the outside, so he knows that he's got to adapt. But yeah, I'm not interested in John Gruden. Like you said, I'm not really interested in any retreads. Brian Flores is the only head coach that I would bring in that has previous head coaching experience.
I would really prefer that no one that gets hired is older than me. Yeah, I would actually prefer they be under 40.
I want the Seahawks head. OC.
That's Clint Kubiak.
That's Clint Kubiak. That's who I want too.
Right.
I don't think Spags is going to leave. I don't think Spags is interested in a head coaching job because I think he would have gotten one already if he was. You know what I mean? I feel like he's got to get phone calls every offseason.
Didn't he? Wasn't he the interim in New York? At one point?
Yeah, but that's not a real head coaching job.
No, I get that, but yeah.
His only real head coaching job was with the Rams like 15 years ago, and Sam Bradford.
Oh, was he the head coach before McDaniels? Or Josh McDaniels?
No, Josh McDaniels was his offensive
Josh
coordinator.
McDaniels was his offensive coordinator. You're right. Yeah.
Yes, and then he gets fired, and that's when they bring in Mr. Mediocre himself, Jeff Fisher.
Yeah, which was Mr. 9-7, 9-7, 7-9 every year.
Just for the record, to go back to the annals of time with this podcast. We had a conversation back in the day about who we wanted to be offensive coordinator after we fired Greg Roman. And I was one who advocated for Clint Kubiak. So
you're right.
So if he becomes head coach, I'd be happy with that. I'd be happy with Jesse Minter as well. Again, the idea of play like a Raven, and I think he's done a lot with very little in LA. I mean, you got Derwin James, who's excellent. I feel like the rest of that defensive roster is very, very mediocre. So I feel like
Yeah, I
he
mean,
could do a lot
Khalil
with a
Mack's
little.
Khalil Mack, but he's not the same guy.
Exactly. He's not defensive player of the year, Khalil Mack. He's a solid player still, but yeah.
Who's the guy that they have that has 13 sacks? Talipi or something like that? He's got some
Yes.
Hawaiian name.
Tui Pelotu. Yeah, he was from USC.
Yes,
I heard they had some Nigerian guy that they traded for who had like 7 sacks or something.
Yeah, he changed his name a couple times. Like it used to be Jason, and now it's Odafe he goes by. But yeah.
So we bring him back as a
that is
Raven?
correct.
No, we should not bring Owe anywhere near this team.
Oh my god!
Hell no!
Oh my god!
I mean, if we bring
that's a hail to the no.
No,
if we bring in Jesse Minter. If we bring in Jesse Minter, why not?
Well, that's who we were talking about bringing in was Minter. I'm on board with that. Again, I'm going to get called a Michigan homer. I had to defend the McDonald defensive coordinator hiring to you clowns when it happened. And I
you
was
didn't have to defend shit to me. You had to defend Grant.
Grant was, Drew,
wasn't me either. I don't think I had any issue with it.
Yeah, I just blame. Grant's not here, so I'm blaming you guys for Grant sticks, but it's fine. Grant.
I really, really, really want Brian Flores as a defensive coordinator. That would be
so. Here's my only fear.
Coordinator.
My only fear with bringing Flores in is that I don't love the suing the league.
I'm with you on that. That's why I'm not really about him as a head coach, but
I think if you bring him in as a defensive coordinator, it's the same problem. Is that he is a guy that, again, you look at his time in Miami, and I can kind of write it off as shit was kind of fucked up there. Of the owner wanted him to tank. He had Tua. His coaching staff was awful, and everybody talks about how he doesn't talk to his coaching staff anymore. He burned bridges, but they were all fucking losers anyway. So, I don't really care about that. And then you look that he went under Tomlin, and nobody was giving him a head coaching shot. And then he goes to Minnesota and does very well as a defensive coordinator there. There is an opportunity if you hire Brian Flores that he is going to cry racism at some point. It just that's something that he's done in the past. I don't love that, and I don't love the lawsuit against the league. If the Ravens do their due diligence and hire him for any position, I'll feel more comfortable with it. But as it stands right now, I don't really know what he is. I don't know. We don't really know the whole story of what happened in either of his stops. So he's kind of an unknown to me at that point.
I just know that
this before today.
Defensive mind. He seems to me to have a good handle on it, and he has I think connects with the players really well.
I'll say before today, I wasn't enthused with the idea of bringing in Robert Saleh, but with Mike McDaniel getting fired and them having ties together with the Niners, if he or say it's Anthony Weaver, if they were to bring him in as our offensive coordinator, I would 100% support that move.
Yeah, so for Weaver, great. That's a good. Weaver and Saleh are guys that I could be okay with, depending on who the offensive coordinator hire is, because I think that is incredibly important for those two specifically.
Are you talking about as defensive coordinator?
No, so if you bring that,
we're talking about as
head coach. Yeah, we're interviewing Saleh as a head coach. We're interviewing Anthony Weaver as a head coach. So if you're going to bring those two in to be a head coach, I think you have to have Mike McDaniel or Cliff Kingsbury, locked in as your offensive coordinator for that hire to make sense. To me, I had heard this morning, or not heard, but I read on the timeline this morning, and it was a bunch of people that, they liked Weaver's interview, and that might be a guy that they bring in. And that's a guy that, again, coached under Harbaugh for a while and has coached elsewhere. So he's kind of got experience on multiple staffs. Maybe he works out, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. But again, I think that if you hire somebody like that, you really have to make sure you bring in a good offensive coordinator. It becomes way more important to bring in a top-notch offensive coordinator at that point.
100%.
Whereas if you bring in Clint Kubiak, you could get away with a lesser offensive coordinator, I think.
Because there's a pretty good chance he's going to be calling plays. So whoever his coordinator is going to be is just going to be helping him install all his scheme, most likely.
Right. And so, again, I the only thing, and again, what worries me with Clint Kubiak is the age and the lack of experience. But I think that that's a gamble I'm willing to take. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to not hire the guy because he's young and doesn't have any experience. Personally, that's just me. I'd be totally okay with him as your head coach.
Absolutely, that's a fact. But anyway, that's gonna do it for tonight. This week's installment. We'll be back to discuss the rest of the offseason and maybe a new head coach, and maybe Grant will come on here and put together a big black cock list. Who the fuck knows? But anyway, meanwhile, it's time for me to die.
Do it, Trip.
See ya.
See ya. Yeah, like Tyler.